Hello, good people, and welcome to the Amateur Hour. My name's Justin,
My name's Tyler.
I'm the one called Junior.
and today's sponsors are EBXYA and Adam Stone. So, Tyler, we gotta talk about something, right? We just gotta get into it.
I don't know if it's ever good if you just bring me in first.
Well, listen, we get up this morning, right? We're all ready. We're all tired. Okay? Well, actually, mainly me, because I don't really get up as early as I used to. But anywho, that's despite the fact.
I don't know if you
That,
ever got up early. When you did, I think it was just a fad for you.
No, when I did, it was because I was working. A
Yeah,
lovely job. And then
yeah,
it
but
became
I'm still
crazy.
calling it a fad because it was short term. You're
Uh,
you're nocturnal, and we all know it.
I actually would get up for 8 months. 8 months straight. That's what happened.
But what was your
And,
average sleep time?
My average sleep time, it was fairly good. I'd go to sleep at like 10 o'clock, get up at 7 for
I'm
work.
impressed.
And yeah,
Right?
it was a fun time because I always had to be on time to work. And I actually at the time was enjoying the job before everything went to craziness and they treated me horribly and I decided to leave. Which I probably would talk about a little bit later in time, all right? Because I'm just giving it some time because I don't know how quickly I could talk about a place before,
Well, you
after
don't have to
leaving.
mention the name. They don't know. They don't need to know who we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I guess, right? I used to work at a bank, right? I was a bank teller for some time. And you had to get up early. You had to open the store. You had to be a part of the process of flipping on the lights, logging in the computers, waiting for people to come in. And so it was a fun job. I was actually really enjoying it. I mean, it
Dealing
really
with
wasn't.
sucky exes.
What happened?
Dealing with sucky exes. You forgot that part.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna leave it out.
Oh,
uh,
oops.
let's just say that person's not even worth mentioning. um, but anyway, like, so I would have to get up for work and stuff like that, and the job started getting weird where management wasn't properly training me for a lot of the processes that we would do. And so when I would do something incorrectly, they would try and write me up. And when they would write me up, then they'd try and, they kept writing me up, writing me up, writing me. And it just felt like they were going to just try to get rid of me. So I was sort of getting tired of that. So I spoke with the head of management. Her name is Debbie. Yeah, I'll call her out. Anyway, I spoke to the head of management and I discussed being properly trained because unfortunately I was being moved from bank to bank and I wasn't getting the strong, proper training that I felt I deserved and that I needed. Rather than them sort of saying like, hey, you'll figure it out. I think with banking, that's something very serious when you're dealing with finance. And I didn't want to keep getting it wrong. So, it's handling people's money and stuff like that. So that makes me very nervous to get something like that wrong. It's not like you're sitting at a cashier register, for a retail store like I've done before. So they weren't training me correctly, so I brought it up to the head of management. I said, you know what, can you train me? Like, this is ridiculous that you're writing me up and you're not properly training me. And this was at the time when I got moved out of the training branch and they moved me into a more permanent position, which was even closer to home, which was fantastic, but I wasn't learning anything. And what ended up happening was I spoke to her. Then my manager, I had spoken to her, and she said she was going to train me. But then she also scolded me that I went over her head. But I didn't go over her head to get her in trouble. I went over her head to like make sure that this is fixed for other people joining this bank because we're getting new hires. Let's just say 15 people had quit that bank within, and it's a small community bank. I could at least say that. It's not like a Chase or Centeer or I don't know, any other sort of like BMO or so it's not like a big
Like
bank.
nationwide bank.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a nationwide. It's a little like I want to say like mom and pop bank that's just been around for some time. And
They're putting your money in their mattress for you, you know.
exactly. They had
You
one
gotta
like
make
large.
Hold on. Hey, can you run home real quick? This one wants a lot.
Yeah, or
Just bring the whole mattress. It might be all there.
and it's like a modernized like foam mattress. It's like they're keeping it modern rather than those old spring mattresses.
Oh no. This is definitely a spring mattress.
So it was like it was a horrible experience that then this manager got all pissed off and then she started playing favorites and then making things. She started making me like do certain things like open big business accounts or moving people's names over to another new business account. And this is something that I was never trained in. And then so when I'd take a stab at it and I'd get it incorrect, I'd get written up again for it. So it was just a constant write up. And I couldn't handle it. It was getting ridiculous. And here's one thing that got me closer to leaving was I came in one day to open the bank, right? There's a whole process to it. I really can't explain it because now that one I feel like I'd get in trouble for. But let's just say that every morning we have to open the vault. Big, ginormous vault. And if it's opened incorrectly, the alarm's going to be going off. But here's the thing. I get in one morning, tired, whatever, all dressed up, put in the what's it called? Whatever into the vault. Try turning it and opening it, but it wasn't turning. And I was like, uh-oh, we're going to have to call maintenance. But then I pulled the vault door and someone left it open. Someone left open the vault and no one got in trouble for it. So my manager decided to never speak to the head of management or get anyone written up because she said it wasn't worth opening that can of worms. Though she would write me up. Yeah. Though she would write me up for the smallest things. Yet
she didn't say anything because it would probably got her written up, and that would have been a no-no in her book.
Exactly. And then there's another thing that she would do that kind of got me upset, that she was working for one of the individuals that was was a customer of the bank. Now, a big no-no was supposed to be you're not allowed to work for people that you're also the bank teller of or, manager of the bank that they're working or that they're going to. Because, like, you could have sort of fraudulent behavior and stuff like this. And that was, like, a huge just, again, big old no-no. And she apparently got special permission, so I thought that was kind of weird, and I did not like that. The company they do some other stuff that I really don't want to say because based off, I don't know how legal or whatever things are going to get, and it's just not worth saying it. But let's just say if they're audited, it would not be nice. Anyway, so it was a lot of weird things that I didn't like. And eventually, what set me over the edge is one day I was popping the keys of the keyboards, or at least my keyboard, at the job because we'd have a lot of downtime. They'd say there was no time for downtime and that I should be reading all these processes of like how to do certain things. And let me tell you, their notes pretty pretty ridiculous. They had a huge binder of notes, and they were outdated for our old system. So they wanted me to read that on my free time and try and learn on my free time with old notes. So I don't know why that was a thing. I never heard of people training themselves in finance, but okay. So anyway, I was popping keyboards out. I was cleaning it because their keyboards were gunky as hell. They had like, you know when like you get like the skin buildup on a controller or something? That's what it was. It was loose skin kind of build up on the edges. So I started cleaning out the keyboard because I'm like, you know what? I want a clean work environment. This is disgusting. And I guess the head of security, this guy, Indian dude, pops in, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Oh, he's like, you're cleaning the keyboard." I said, "Yeah, because we have a little bit of downtime, and I just want to make sure that this is clean." And then he kind of like, he's like, "Oh, well, are you sure you should be doing that?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I wouldn't see why not. It's like I'm putting him back as I go as well." And then he just stays quiet, disappears. And the next thing you know, the next day, I have a write-up for cleaning a keyboard. And when I got that write-up, I was like, no, this is it. I got beyond pissed off. I stood
Justin's
quiet.
like, listen here, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I wanted to explode when my manager walked up to me with a write-up. And it says, for cleaning the keyboard, I have the write-up. I'm going to frame it one day, like literally, because it's the most ridiculous thing ever. So someday if we're doing visual podcast segment, I hope you guys will probably be able to see it. But it'll be in a
If you ever
frame.
get a studio with like a storefront or something to display things, I'm gonna blow that up to like I don't know, twice the size that it actually is, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna frame it and put it on the wall in the lobby.
It
I was
was
fired for cleaning my keyboard.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I wasn't fired. I literally had quit the next day. I wrote this large letter of resignation, and I really tore into them for their lack of communication between their branches. I tore into them about their unprofessional nature, which they were very unprofessional with how they did things. So I really got into the nitty gritty, if you will. And
You probably should have. You probably should have contacted the Better Business Bureau.
oh yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. I should have. I'm tempted
It's
to
never
now.
too late.
So I had to deal with all this sort of dumbness, and I came in the next morning, and the next thing you know, my manager ends up calling the branch, and she's like, "Oh, so you're resigning?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay, so like, are you giving us 2 weeks?" I said, "No, it says in the letter I'm resigning as of today." So I came in today, but I know I haven't been scheduled the next 2 weeks, and I'm not gonna come in the next 2 weeks. No, thank you. And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "We always thought you were unprofessional. I guess this confirms it," she says. And I was like, "Okay, try taking a stab all you want." And then she says, "Well, banking was never for you." And I was like, "No, it wasn't banking. It just was, I wasn't trained properly. But, we all have our opinion," I told her. And she's like, "Yeah, we do." So she was trying to be real sarcastic and
And at
just,
that point, I would have walked out anyway.
yeah. Here's the reason I came in. There was a lovely individual I worked with. Her name's Melissa, and I couldn't have just left her on her own and just like said, "Hey, big screw you," because really being a bank teller and only being one bank teller there, that'd be rough.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
for
wasn't looking to screw my workmates, so that's why I was like, "That's the only reason. If not Tyler, trust me, I would have walked out." it wasn't worth it. Plus, I had to make sure that individual got the
You know what
key
I
to
would
the
have done
bank.
on the last hour of the day? I would have
What's that?
cleaned all the keyboards,
Right? Well, I
but not
again,
put the keys back.
I didn't want to get any sort of legal trouble because they were talking about me tampering with the apparently that was also the sort of language that they were trying to use. And yeah, it was insane. And like certain things that they would do was they kind of cut costs for some people, right? Like let's say I'm just gonna put it out there. So like let's say there was a statement. You know how if you're trying to make a cashier's check, you got to pay $5.
Mm,
Well, certain businesses got off those $5, and that is, I think it's unethical, if you're asking me, that we're charging $5 to someone who has $90 in their account, and yet someone who has a couple, 100,000, and I will not say those companies, they weren't paying for anything. Like, and if they did, the amount of complaints that we got, and so then if we would waive it, we'd get in trouble. And then unless the manager said, "Oh yeah, no, waive it." So because we'd get taught to stick by the book, but then they wouldn't stick by the book was another thing that they kept doing to me, and I thought that was ridiculous, and that's very unethical. They used to have a list literally written down of the people that were what's it called? That were subject to not have to pay anything, and or any like little fees like cashier's check or a wiring fee and all these other sort of fees. They used to have a list, but then they sort of tried to destroy the list because if they got audited, right, they're going to get in trouble because you're not supposed to be not keeping the policy when it comes to charging people. So that was very nefarious in their sort of nature. And I didn't agree with it. I felt that it was very unethical as a business, and especially a bank waiving fees like that for just all these people because they had to keep, right. They got to keep the money in the bank. If not, all the people were dying. And here's another thing that I had an issue with: their marketing campaign was very geared towards just old people, and the amount of uh what do you call that? Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've been at the bank and now I'm forgetting. But like we would have a large amount of like, death certificates, whatever coming in where like we have to close out these like bank accounts. And I'm just like I'm like that should say something, right? Like shouldn't you I don't know, get a younger audience of people? I know it doesn't bring that much money to the bank, but like if we're appealing to that, at least we'll have hopefully loyal customers. Like, so that was another thing is like I would try and get into uh all this sort of thing, but I mean I'm not even gonna get into it. Like I said, I'm not gonna get into the name of it. I'll stop it there because I don't think it's always right to talk bad about a company you've worked for. But I mean, hey, it has something to say about the place that I did work for.
It's all
Um,
right. If they happen to hear it, they'll still think you're unprofessional because they suck.
oh yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if one of them or two of them listen to the podcast. If you do, I'm not talking about you specifically. But as for everyone else, yeah. Hey, I didn't say the name of the bank and I didn't really get into crazy details. But with that said, that is why I was getting up early. And you know what? Part of working there, I was constantly eating. Like literally, I was eating so much because I mean, I was going through a lot. Like, I mean, I'm still going through a lot. Life happens, right? But it was just such a easy way for me to not do anything and like sit there and just eat snacks all day. I was starting to order food with my good friend and me and her, we would like constantly order food out, and I was gaining so much weight. I mean, that's part of the reason why I became 196 was I not only was going out with, my ex or whatever, and we're constantly going out to eat, but I also was starting to eat at work. Like, so I was always triple eating. And, like, I would order a whole pizza for myself. I'd get freaking Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, I was going crazy, guys. Like, it was insane. I was true fat guy status. And, yeah, leaving that place also freed up my ability and my want to not eat. And, I mean, look, I lost 30 pounds. I'm 171. I keep bouncing between 169, so I'm pretty happy now. But with eating habits, Tyler, this is why I was trying to get into it. You get up this morning and rather than eating like a bacon and egg sandwich, he goes for the Oreos.
Well,
Well,
the
I
bacon
mean,
and egg sandwich would have been greasy.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I can't have something so sweet early in the morning. Like I can't even really have pancakes early in the morning. Cause then it feels like, I don't know, it feels a bit grimy a little bit, it just don't
Oh, you
feel
know what the
good.
best is? Waffles covered in peanut butter and syrup.
See, I
hmm.
feel like I would die in the morning from that. I never been like an early sugar eater in the morning.
Well, see, I never usually get to eat breakfast because I wake up at 6:30 and I have to be in my van ready to go en route by 7. So most days I don't even eat breakfast. But the days that I do eat breakfast, it's just like, ooh, what can I have? So I go a little overboard, but to be fair, it's like one day out of the week, so whatever. It's fine.
Do you at least take some milk with it? And
Well,
maybe the
yeah,
milk's a little
you can't
healthy.
have Oreos without milk.
You know what? It's probably the same as eating cereal. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I would say so because unless you're eating like what is that, the special K or whatever they call it, which not none of us probably eat, but Frosted Flakes or Honey Nut Cheerios, they say they're good for you, but it's still sugary. Um, I don't know what are some cereals? Cocoa
Cookie
Puffs,
Crisp,
Cookie Crisp.
which is literally a cookie, which is what an
Yeah,
Oreo
you're
is.
soaking a bunch of little cookies in milk. So, like, am I really? I'm not doing anything different.
Maybe it'd be more acceptable if you just break up the cookies and dump it in the milk.
And to be fair, it's only like 5 or 6 cookies, so it's not like I'm downing the whole package.
That's still a lot, though.
It's
Especially
probably
for like an
it's
Oreo.
probably less than your whole bowl of mini cookies.
I don't
Mm,
know. I'm
yeah.
not really one to. It's really hard for me to eat early in the morning, like when I first wake up, just because oh no, I'm slow, and then my stomach, I don't know, just needs to settle for a second.
Yeah,
It needs to
that's
get
what
booted for the day.
that's what I'm saying is like I can't have sugar so early in the morning. I don't even eat cereal in the morning because it's too sugary for me. Like that just I get nauseous when even like if it's normal breakfast, sometimes I just get nauseous in the morning time trying to eat so early.
I'll never get nauseous over eating. I love eating.
Do you
That's
feel, Tyler, that you should change your eating habits? Like, is there anything new you want to do, or
I don't feel like I should change my eating habits, but I do feel like I should be more active.
Yeah, same with me. I think I need to get
I
a
don't
little
think
more.
my eating's too bad. Once in a while, maybe once a week, I'll have like Burger King or something. But for the most part, I usually try to get a 6-inch sub from Subway for lunch, or I'll go to Jimmy John's for lunch. And that's not the best decision I could make, but it's a lot better than having Burger King or Wendy's every day, which I don't know if you remember the college days. Me and Justin would often go to lunch together, and we went to Wendy's so many times that the manager at the location recognized it and gave us the free frosty tags.
Yeah, of which you're
because we
supposed to
showed up
like.
so much.
Yeah, and we're
And then
supposed
we
to
ended
pay
up
for
getting
it.
lunch and a Frosty every time.
Yeah, and we'd get a percentage off too.
Uh-huh.
We'd get like 11. It was
So
like
I've
something like
definitely
that.
changed for the better.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, normally though,
that was probably 4 days out of the week, no?
when we would eat out like that, I was also right after that I was going straight into work. So like I would work till like 1 in the morning out in the cold. Or like 12. So it was like 4 long days. So like that's why I would like and I was always being active too. Like I was always lifting
Yeah, but you
things
can't
and
justify eating a greasy burger.
yeah, no, what I'm trying
Like,
to say
if you
is
woulda
like
ate
you were
something else,
saying
it
to
would have
be more
benefited you
active,
way more.
right?
Uh-huh.
And that was my job, was very active. I was constantly on my feet, walking everywhere, having to speed walk, having to lightly jog. Um, I would pick up a lot of heavy stuff in the storage rooms and stuff like that. Because if you're a dude and you're working at Kohl's, like be ready to lift some things because unfortunately most things are heavy. So it's like so there's a lot of females that were working there that couldn't really lift the crazily heavy things without hurting themselves. So I would kind of be tasked automatically to like lift all these heavy boxes or
Justin's here, time to move everything.
yeah, or if they're moving displays, it would be like me and Colin and a bunch of the other guys, and we'd have to like move giant displays, and it was a doozy. What can I say? But I was always being active, so that's what I was saying in regards to that. But I was eating at that time too. I was around 160, and I stood 160 for the longest time. It's when I left Kohl's, believe it or not, and started working at my other job, my other two jobs, is when I started slowly diminishing and just always eating out and never being active. And I changed my eating habits a long time ago because I got tired of it about a year ago. And like I said, I lost, and I'm very proud of it, which is why I keep mentioning it. I lost 30 pounds. I was 196 and dropped all the way to 171 now. And
Yeah,
I
I don't
haven't,
know how much I am right now. I know I'm like 2 something. So I wouldn't say I'm at a comfortable weight. Like, I would like to be less,
yeah.
but I'm not at a weight that bothers me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But to be
Like, I can
fair,
still get up, I can do push-ups, I can run up and down the hill at my parents' house. Like, I can do that stuff, but I would like to be a little skinnier, or if not skinnier, maybe just more toned
to
because right now I have more flab.
to be fair, when I went to the doctor actually fairly recently, and 170 for our height is because you're what around the same height as me is actually the goal weight for us. That's the
Mhm.
healthier weight. So if you could drop down to that, hey, you'd be at a healthy weight, and there you go.
I used to stick around about 185. I was 180-ish for like a really long time. But at the same time, I was this was back when I was working at Amazon, and even before that, it was when we were in high school, and I was constantly riding my bike everywhere and doing all that kind of stuff. So I had more of a muscle build than anything else. So I was always on the heavier side. But when you're on the heavier side, you got to ask yourself, am I on the heavier side because I'm fat? Or am I on the heavier side because I'm built a little more? And one way can be more healthy than the other way, obviously. So that's always one thing I never understood when the doctors said all that kind of stuff. Cause like I was always above the weight that I should have been every time I went to the doctor. And I can tell you right now, the doctor would probably tell me I'm obese. But when my doctor tried to tell me I'm overweight 5 years ago, I'll be like, fuck you. I'm not overweight. I know I'm not overweight.
Well, 5 years ago, I do remember you being fairly muscular too.
Well,
Oh,
that's
you were
what I'm
checking them
saying is
out,
the
huh?
difference right now.
Hey,
I'm
we
not
used
that
to go to
muscular
gym
now.
together. I mean, what can you say? I'd see you too, Junior. What you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in high school, we went to gym class, and remember when they first took us to the workout room?
Yeah.
Well, the who was it, Mr. Zaney, right?
Yep, that is correct.
He said, okay, you guys all have to try each machine, and we had to try to lift as much as we can so he could set like our numbers or whatever. Well, I just went to every machine and put the pin at the bottom of the rack and lifted the whole thing. So it was like, whatever to me. So yeah, of course, when I went to the doctor, I was over my recommended weight because I had mostly muscle. And that was all because when I was younger, I was either working outside or we had like the four wheelers and stuff. If you're going to ride a four wheeler like a lot or a dirt bike a lot, you build muscle because you have to be able to push that machine around. Believe it or not, it's more of a workout than it is, even though you're just revving a motor. But
Well,
then
even
on
just
top of that, all the
riding a
bike,
regular street bike too.
well, any kind of four wheeler, dirt bike, motorcycle, anything like that, you have to be strong enough to control that machine.
Yeah, I think mine weighs like 500 pounds, and me just trying to push that around in the garage, I'm like, whew.
Right, exactly. So just think about it when you have the four wheeler or whatever, and you have to, like, when you're trying to line them up in the garage to get them all to fit, you grab the bumper on the front and you pick the thing up off the ground and you walk it over to the side and then you drop it back on the ground. I mean, you got to do that once in a while. That'll eventually build muscle and stuff. And then just the fact when you're riding a dirt bike, which is pretty close to riding a motorcycle, you get like a really good like core workout.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
your hips leaning side to side and you're trying to push that bike around to get it where you want it. You feel worn out at the end of the day. You had your fun, but you feel worn out.
That's one of the things too. Riding a motorcycle, it's definitely good to have like a good core strength and all that to be at least somewhat physically fit.
Yeah. But that's the reason why, and we've talked about this before, that's the reason I bought my mountain bike. Because I know I'm less active now than I was. So my mountain bike, that was my, because I'm not going to go out and exercise. I'm not going to go get a gym membership. So I told myself, okay, I have to go invest in something that's going to give me a workout, but I'm actually going to like have fun or enjoy doing it at the same time. So I went out and bought a mountain bike. And it was $1,300 for that mountain bike, which everyone tells me is crazy. But if I go do a gym membership, the cheapest one I've seen around here, I think, is Planet Fitness, and it's like $10 a month. So right there, just depending on how long I do that workout, or let's say I'm going to a gym every day for 3 years or whatever, why not just spend that money on something that I am actually going to enjoy? Because I'm not going to enjoy going to a gym. So I made an investment for my bike, for something I would actually enjoy, but to still keep me active.
Yeah, the only thing that sucks is around here the weather's just so crazy.
Oh yeah.
So as soon as it rains, it's like, damn, I can't ride.
November, and it feels like what have we been having? Like high 60s, low 70s in November, Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised it didn't snow on Christmas.
Yeah,
or not Christmas. Halloween.
Well, last year it was shit. It was like rainy and sleet and
Yeah,
like
it was
a
freezing.
nasty Halloween.
Well, that's how it is for every Halloween, I feel like.
For the most part, I mean, as of the
Well,
most
see, this
recent
one, it was like
Halloweens,
we have
yeah.
COVID, so why not we give everyone a break and get some decent weather?
Yeah, that's sad.
It was like, hey, we can all go out for Halloween. It's gonna be super nice. Oh, COVID.
Yeah. I just but with that said, you know what? We're gonna have to toss it over to break because we're already at time. So I hope you guys enjoy this word from our sponsor.
Adam Stone, a unique and talented artist hitting the alternative rock scene. Listen to him as he jams his way into becoming a new hit artist.
But now you will, 'cause I am bringing you down. I'll take you off your chair. Set
Listen to Adam Stone's singles for free on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Surrounding me. I don't know why I was chosen to live like this every day, every day, every day. I don't know why pain.
You can follow your favorite ghost, Adam Stone, on Instagram and Facebook. Link in the description.
And we're back from that word from our sponsor. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And please, don't forget, like and subscribe. Okay, anyway. Drop a like, give us a subscription, give us a follow. Because you know what? We'd like to keep you here. We'd like to make you one of the amateur hour community. Come on, become an amateur. And leave comments below. What are you guys' eating habits? Huh? I'd like to know. What's going on? Let's get some talking. Let us get to know you while you get to know us. But at the very least, yes, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you're on YouTube. So that way you're getting all the notifications when we're posting every weekend. So just get ready every weekend, all right? It used to be every Friday, but sometimes, unfortunately, I do get busy with editing. So it's going to at least be for sure in the weekend. So be prepared. You got something to look forward to every weekend and something new to listen to even during the week. So please, subscribe. Follow us if you're on Spotify, Apple, or SoundCloud. But with that said, we had some recent history. Just we've been in the makings of and just living in a lot of big moments of history. Pretty
2020
recently.
for sure. All of 2020 is just like it's going in the textbooks for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just the most wild things alive, and one of the most unimaginable things with the most high tension presidential race. What I feel of like one of our just biggest in history is that we had 74 million people voting this year, which is an all-time historic record high of people voting in our country, which is insane. And let's talk about, thank you, Joe Biden, for being our president, but but it was such a close race. And
Well, I want to agree with you there, but hey, who knows what's gonna happen with all the recounts and whatever stunt Trump's gonna try to pull. So
Yeah, the
Yeah.
word is we may not be finished yet.
yeah, I mean,
I don't want to celebrate too early, you know.
I'm sorry. I gotta. Woo! I'm at least happy that if something does happen, at least we know he's won in our hearts. But my gosh, like, and that's I think another fairly historic thing. I've never known a president that just couldn't concede. Like, I never known that. I've never really seen that before. Besides with now Trump, where he's suing all these states, and he's literally was claiming victory several times in during these newscaster broadcasts, right? And he's spreading all this false information and claiming victory. And a lot of times he was literally getting cut off by the news individuals, and they were muting him and talking over him and saying like, yo, this is misinformation. We can't really stand idly by and let this misinformation be spread. And then they just start talking as like he's talking very quietly, muffled in the background. And that just goes to show like the insanity with this this guy's character, right? And then he's
This
making
Dorito.
yeah, this Dorito. He was also making all these tweets and stuff like that saying stop the vote, and then when he realized, oh wait, I would lose if I said stop the vote, then he says stop the fraud. And like the dude couldn't make up his mind of like what was happening.
Here's the funniest thing for me
You
is that,
definitely noticed his panic. That's for sure.
but the funniest thing for me is he's like writing this whole campaign of just focusing on winning. That's like his key word, winning. And right now he is the biggest loser. Like,
Right?
all around the world, he's just lost in front of everyone.
This is why you gotta raise your children not to be sore losers and just like take a loss, man. Like it's so like not graceful, you know? Like to just be attacking constantly like that, and he's been saying since 2016, and I quote, uh, I'll accept the winning, but if I but he says I'll accept the results if I'm winning. That's what he says. There's the quote right there. And he said it in 2016 before the polls and the votes. And now he said it now. And it's absolutely insane. And what I thought too is crazy is that also like this president has been continuously pushing this narrative since before the elections that it's going to be fraudulent. It's going to get it's going to get wild. Like there's going to be so much fraud. You just wait. Like it's like what?
Yeah, I'm curious to
Meanwhile,
see what QAnon story is going to come out of this.
oh my goodness! It made me laugh. Was in the second debate when he was asked about it. He's like, "All I hear is they're people against pedophilia." Like, acting
their
like
superhero.
he don't know what QAnon is. Like, it's ridiculous. You
And
especially should know.
let's get into, okay, so I googled the definition. Okay, backstory first. I was on the toilet. I was on Reddit, and
Oh,
one of the top stories.
You guys always call me out for using my phone on the toilet. Junior.
No, we call you out for recording stuff and like sticking your phone in the toilet.
I've been called out for just plainly using my phone on the toilet.
Well, you know
To
what,
be honest,
Tyler?
I don't do it as much as I do when I was like younger. I don't know, I just kind of stopped. It just kind of was just like, I'm spending too much time in the bathroom. But okay, so I come across this story, and it was talking about the definition of terrorism, and it was below a political article. So let's review it. The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in pursuit of political aims. So if armed protesters show up at a polling booth, what is that?
I think that would be trying to deliver fear, right? And
A lot
strike
of
fear.
the things Trump is saying about all the fraudulence and all this, it's almost terror. We're getting into terrorism territory for him.
I mean, I want to say that, right? But I'm also very lightly with saying it. It could be disinformation, right? But it's just, I don't
Well,
know. It's wild.
more so with the lawsuits, because the
Yeah.
lawsuits is sort of intimidation.
Yeah, right? Like he's trying to sue Michigan and he's trying to sue all these places as opposed to just accepting the vote. And my thing was like back in 2016, wasn't it confirmed, right, that Russia had a dealing in our what's it called? In our polls, in our votes. And they had an interference with that. And the only thing that he was written off for is that they couldn't prove that Trump had anything to deal with it. Like it was just literally Russia being nefarious and getting into our election. So and he didn't have a problem with that. Like, shouldn't he have said like, oh, Russia was in our election, whatever, blah blah blah, and like have such a big conspiracy about that, or just just a no for it, as opposed to now he's like, oh, well, now I'm worried about fraud. Like that's just it's confusing. It's strange
What about the
times.
simple fact that he's like, let's say he gets the recount. Let's say he, for whatever reason, ends up winning. Okay, now you tried to sue all these other states, or you tried to do all this stuff, and now you actually do end up being a president again. There's going to be so much hate for the next 4 years. There's going to be so much negative. Like at that point, I feel like, I don't know. It's just all that stuff that's going to come up in the future because of that.
Yeah, is it like even worth it, right?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's probably burnt out with all this political stuff, but I think we do have to give a hand to all the people that did register, that did come out to vote. Because you said, what, 75 million?
74 million. 74 million. Like the record voting in all of the history of America. That's,
Let's put that into perspective. How many people voted last year?
I have no
Or
clue.
last election?
Not too many, and I think a lot of people, well, just I know youth kind of gets out there, but I don't think we show up as much as we need to.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are just like, nothing's gonna happen. This guy's a movie star or television star. What? This doesn't make sense. But I guess we all know what happened there. But I kind of saw it happening. I knew just from the type of people that was. I don't know.
Yeah.
He
very...
he was like a social media influencer at that point. So everyone's like, "Oh, this guy, yeah, let's vote him," kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very sad, and the way he carried himself out too, right, throughout his presidency, of just constantly tweeting and just being this sort of unprofessional individual. Like it killed me, man. Like it destroyed me. Like when thinking about that.
But this one definitely makes you feel like your vote counts.
Right?
Because before it's just kind of like, it doesn't matter, whatever. I think with people starting to get more involved in the primaries, actually picking and voting who the candidates would be for these parties, which we need to get rid of these damn parties. It's so stupid. But
Yeah.
we need to get some individual
so in
thinkers.
about 10 seconds of research, I found an article that says 2016 election could top 50 million by all the votes. And now we're at 74. So I would assume we were somewhere around 50 million, high 40s, low 50s maybe. But that's a pretty big increase just from that.
Yeah. And I will say that I'm proud of people for getting involved, right? Oftentimes,
Proud of humanity.
Yeah, and oftentimes I'm hearing people, and they talk about how politicians don't necessarily do anything, right? They're like, oh, well, what has this politician helped me, and stuff like that. And the truth of the matter is that sometimes things do seem like empty promises, but it's a lot harder than we think. Than saying, hey, I'm going to do it. I mean, there's a whole House and a whole Senate, right, that decides on bills and certain things like that. And there's just a whole lot of process behind what a president does, right? But I think the biggest thing for me that Trump did that was super negative was just spread hate. And that just goes to show you the sort of political power in that regard of just, as Junior said, of humanity itself, right?
That to me doesn't say I'm a leader.
Yeah.
That to me says do what I want or else.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the wrong image. Without saying too much, but I think it's the wrong image.
Yeah, I don't think that you should be spreading hate, right? Like, I think I'm very much into positivity and just love, right? And being a person that's just gonna bring division within a country that has always been so fragile, especially given its past history. I mean, it takes hundreds of years for us to get over certain things. Like history, when people think of time, they're like, oh, well, like 10 years is a lot. No, in history, it's like 300 years is a lot, like, or 400 years. But when you think about it in like 100 years time or whatever, like that's not enough time for a complete healing. And same for again for politics, is it takes time. It takes more than one president and people upholding these certain values and decisions for them to be held up over time and for you to see the effects of what these presidents have done. So it's just, yeah, that's what I would say to those of you who are afraid to vote or just say your vote doesn't matter. And I feel like this too. If you're not going to vote for the president, at least to vote for your government officials, your county officials, and all these other people, because those are two people that you're going to feel more close to home, and it's going to hit you the hardest when it comes to doing certain things in your town. So, but it's always important to vote, and I am proud. I'm proud of our country for voting and saying enough's enough and choosing love over, hate and division. So, yeah, I mean, what can we say, right?
We can say SNL has some pretty good skits about all this.
Oh, yes, they do. Like I absolutely love their skits, especially about like Trump. It's just like he does the most insane and absurd stuff that it's just comedy gold.
It's like, what is your thought process? I don't think he is careful at all. Like, he just has a thought and boom, there it goes out his
No
mouth.
filter.
No,
I'm right. I'm gonna say it.
It's what's it called? As as one of the was it the officials that was interviewing him for like the second quote unquote debates. Trump was told that he can't be tweeting out like someone's crazy uncle. And it's so true though. It's how he tweets. Like he had retweeted something like Osama bin Laden was like still alive or something like that. Like how can you do that as the president? Like you're not even gonna read it. And then he's like, "Well, it was a retweet." Like, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're still not gonna look into the information, and you're gonna spread all these conspiracy theories like you don't know what you're doing."
Yeah,
But
he's just a wild card, man. Because the Central Park Five, I think this is what they were called. Maybe I already talked about it on the podcast, but it was just like a big racial case, and these boys ended up being innocent, but man, Trump stood by his whole claim that they needed to be killed, like not killed, but just like the death sentence. And he took ads out of newspaper, all that. He still hasn't really said that he was wrong. He's still pretty much against it, which is just unbelievable. Like they've already caught the actual rapist, and yeah, it was like a whole rape case, and they said these kids did it. They caught the real rapist. He confessed to it. It was a white dude, I'm pretty sure. And this dude's still all into these five minorities and just like, no, they're wrong somehow.
evidence doesn't matter. What I say matters. Dude, that's just oh my gosh. See, I didn't even hear about this one. That's insane.
Yeah, it was a case from like a long time ago. I can't give you an exact year, but it had to be like maybe 60s, 70s.
Oh,
just-
really?
Personality where like you give him power, and now he's gonna abuse that power.
Yeah. Like, how can any one person do that? It's just that's why I'm so mystified how we were so close with votes.
Oh, sorry. It sounds like it should be from the 60s, 70s. It was 1989.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And these boys did spend like, I don't know, like maybe 10 years in jail. I can't remember exactly.
Holy moly. See, and it's just and people don't look into that sort of characteristic, right? And I mean, I could see if his character changed, right? I believe in people's change in heart and change in character, but I mean, he's still the same guy, right? He's still gaslighting everything. And he's always like putting this sort of how would you say, just I don't know, just bad light on things, right? Like he always has a way of just like I said, like there's something's about to catch on fire. Like let's say California's about to catch on fire, he makes sure to grab the match and just like throw it in there, like just burn all the brush. Like like yeah, I don't know. Just he's not a very good character when it comes to like yes, this is we should stand together. He makes sure that we stand together in a lot of hate in that retrospect, which is unfortunate. But you know what? I'm happy everyone voted. If Trump calls for a recount, all right, well then give him the recount. But I think suing the states is a bit much, right? And stating things when there's no uh, evidence as to fraudulent behavior, then one thing I will like to mention though was that when he was saying stop the count, right? And then so there's something that's just been everywhere is that in I forget where, but there's people chanting that were Trump in supporters. They were chanting outside of one of the I forget what county or whatever, and they're screaming, "Stop the vote! Stop the vote!" Right? And then you have on another state in another county, people are saying, "Count the vote," and they're both Trump supporters, and they got the messages like so confused.
One that I found funny was it was these Trump supporters just like rocking out to Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of, and Tom Morello actually commented on it. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was just kind of like, "This is weird. You guys do know what this song's about, right?" But they were just more feeling the emotion. They don't really know the actual statement of the song, which is wearing a badge to justify what you're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what the whole song's about. But these people are jamming out to it like I don't know. They're on the opposite spectrum what this song's about. So I don't know. This is funny.
That is pretty hilarious. But I mean, to be a part of history right now, I think it's insane. Like right, like you sit in these history books and you read it right, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm here for like the first black president or whatever. Like I felt like that was one of the biggest things. And then there's swine flu, and you're like, all right, well, like that's pretty big too. And then now you're like into a global like pandemic, and freaking just now the craziest president that I've ever had, and this whole sort of like just hate when it comes to races again, and it's just like it's insane being a part and just seeing this history just unfold in front of my eyes, and being able to, first off, I'm grateful that I'm even just breathing here and being a part of this and being able to be a part of this history, and it's just wow. The stories I'm gonna have for my kids and my grandchildren, like that's just, it's gonna be insane. I think with that said, we should probably toss it over to another break. I hope you guys enjoy this word from our sponsor.
I often find myself wondering, what's next? What lies ahead? Where do I go? How far will I go? We often think about tomorrow, but what's the point? What's the point of not looking at what we have in front of us? Why not look to the present and be grateful? Why do you run from today? What difference does it make if everything you have today can be gone tomorrow? So I urge you, live for today. Search EBXYA on Amazon today to get all of your XLR cable needs. Link in the description.
And we're back from that word from our sponsors. I hope you guys enjoyed.
So let's get into another problem that's overtaken the world. if
What
you
is it?
must. We might step on our own toes with this one, but oversaturation of podcasts.
Yeah, that's a
Everyone in
thing.
their ants has one at this point.
Yeah, I don't know
Full
why.
disclaimer: our podcast doesn't suck.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a
Don't
full
stop
disclaimer.
listening.
Yeah, no, everyone does have a podcast, right? Like, I remember before when, I don't know, when like back in 2015 when I first thought of the idea of possibly wanting to do a podcast, I was not really like I didn't really I don't know podcasts I didn't think were too much of a thing, and I wanted to wait to do one eventually, but I don't know because I've always been a talker. So like, I don't think like okay, Sarah Silverman, she's got a podcast right now. It's like why? And I watched it, and she's just talking to herself, right? And it's just her asking herself questions and then her responding to it. The quality of the audio is just weird. The topics are just I don't know, they're just not interesting to me. I don't get why all these people are deciding to have podcasts randomly. I don't know. It just feels like a random decision, especially with the how would you say the pandemic, right? It just feels like they're just looking for an easy cash grab type of thing. Uh, Especially like these actors and actresses and stuff like that, where they're just jumping into it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I have a podcast now." It's like, well, you have the money, the resources, and the also the star ability to just randomly up and start a podcast and bada bing, bada boom. There you go. You have a following, as opposed to like smaller podcasts, right? Like ourselves, and I'm sure other podcasts that it takes a while to grow a fan base because we're not known, right? We're these three schlubs from Indiana, like
Right.
trying to weigh in and give our thoughts on things,
Podcast out of the corn.
right? What if we had a podcast all about farming? Like, can you imagine?
I'm sure it's out there.
I think we would fail because I don't know nothing about farming.
Well, yeah, but if we did have our stuff together, that might be a hit. There's a lot of rural areas.
Right.
Well, you know what? We are now a conservative farming podcast. Like, the corn grew 3 inches today, and I think it was the Indiana soil.
Start getting into the farmer's almanac and all that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, so it's gonna be a bad winter.
In the weather.
those
Oh,
damn.
man. Imagine if we were like 100% spot on, we would make money instantly.
Those damn garden snakes have been messing with my dogs again. Like I don't know. I oversaturation of podcast. It's a lot of competition. I tell you that much. And like I said, I think my issue I take with it is when all these actors or actresses just randomly and you feel that it's a decision that they're changing just because they're like, oh, what the heck, they're doing it, so I'm gonna do it too. Like it's a trend to them, and that I feel is kind of sad, right? Like because I know I personally I'm not doing this because it's a trend. I'm doing it because one, I'm a talker, and two, like I feel like we have interesting takes.
When we first started, it was the beginning of the trend, I could say. But we've had the idea for a few years before that, even. So
Yeah,
we were working up to the point when we were ready. We didn't do because everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? Like we were
Yeah.
just it'll be a cool idea. Let's do it.
I remember I had the idea right like back in 2015. And then I started the amateur hour up with 2 friends of mine from New York, and it was going to be a gaming channel, but we also talked about doing a podcast. And then from there, and I started bringing Tyler into the idea. I said, "Hey, would you be willing to do something like this?" And then he's like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be cool." And I also wanted him to like do something else with the channel too. Like we're just gonna try and like figure out and be versatile. And then I decided. Then unfortunately, my friends from New York, like we couldn't keep up. Like there was just like a lot of stuff going on, so we didn't necessarily continue the with the idea of the YouTube channel until then I revisited it. And then we also were talking about rebranding. Instead of the amateur hour, is going to be the Candy Couch, which you'll see is in the featured, which we will do something with that channel eventually. But as of right now, we're not doing anything with that IP. But
Real quick. It
yeah,
sounds like you get a lot of your ideas from pornos. You got the amateur hour. You got the candy couch, which sounds like the casting couch.
wow, dude. Well, the idea of the Candy Couch was something to be like it was supposed to be very like just broad like so okay here's where it came from. So me and the other two members of the amateur hour, the originals, right, the OGs, we had decided when I was talking about the podcast idea, I was like, what if we got a real bright couch, right? And had it like different colors, like lime green, like pink, and like all this sort of stuff. And we filmed and we had our podcast like sitting on that couch. And that's where the idea of the Candy Couch came from, was that it's this idea of just this bright, just over the top sort of couch and random background. And then I started developing the idea again more with Tyler when I brought him on with the ideas. I was like, hey, like, should we do something like this? But so that's essentially the reasoning as to why. And I remember we again, like I said, we originally were supposed to be the Candy Couch, like me, you, Tyler. We're all supposed to be part of that, but it's just more people gravitated towards the name the Amateur Hour. And so that's why we kind of just let the IP just chill. We haven't let it go, so I still have it, but I'm hoping we can use it for something else. I don't know. We'll figure it out in the future.
Something fun
It'll
like
happen.
candy.
It'll
Yeah,
happen.
candy reviews exclusively or something.
The Snickers is so good.
But that's what bothers me about the oversaturation of podcasts. Just all these newbies sort of jumping into it. In regards to, when I say newbies, I mean like these actors or actresses. Like you got Whitney Cummings is another actress that decided to have a podcast.
Well, she's a comedian, so I get it. I feel like it's easy for comedians to get a podcast and like sustain it pretty
Yeah,
well.
but it felt like she hopped on the trend, because she's got
No, she definitely, because she's big business now, so she
yeah.
definitely hopped on it because it was a trend.
Yeah, because like she's got she's been on the H3 podcast with comedians. She's been Tom Segura, right?
Segura?
Segura. Sorry, his podcast as well, and like you've seen her kind of making a splash in the scene, and those are her comedic friends and her peers. And it seems like she very much hopped onto it because it was just a trend.
Yeah, that I want to say your mom's house, which is Tom Segura's and Christina Pajitsky's. I think they're going on like 5 years now or something. But I think they're probably one of the OGs in the comedy realm. Mark Maron is definitely one of the first few also. But 5 years ago, that's 2015. That's like you're saying when you got that idea. That was when it was still like fresh and like not everyone had it. It was still just like, oh yeah, you guys want to check out this podcast? And everybody's just like, what, a podcast? Who wants to listen to people talk?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I feel like part of me feels like the Joe Rogan podcast really set things afloat. Because then I started hearing that everywhere, and it was like insane.
Well, there was even maybe it was from everyone just trying out YouTube. Everybody wanted to be a YouTuber. So then maybe they're just like, yeah, let me try podcasting now. It's just kind of shifting, you know.
I guess so. I mean, I'm all for people now coming to the platform, right? Wanting to listen to podcasts and getting interested. But again, my only issue is just when these stars decide to, you know what, I'm gonna hop on over and I'm gonna bring all these people and I'm gonna try. I mean, I don't know. Kudos to wanting to bring the podcast sort of family, make them bigger, but or this genre bigger. But I just, yeah, like I said, it's a bit annoying. I know it's pessimistic. It's not the sort of greatest take on podcasts and greatest light, and it's kind of how would you say, hypocritical a little bit, right? Because we're doing a podcast, but I mean it's not really hypocritical.
Self-damning if you must.
Yeah, but at the same token, like I said, I had this idea like way back when, and if I could have, I would have done it way back when. But unfortunately, I didn't have the resources to get this equipment, and a lot of times when I do things, I don't like to start it like not knowing what I'm doing, right? Like when I get into something, I want to learn the background stuff. So I took even podcasting class. I've taken voiceover classes. I've taken radio classes to sort of just understand a little bit more before saying, all right, I'm ready to shoot on this idea. Let's bring it forth again. So I didn't want it to be on a whim, I wanted to do it while knowing what I wanted to do. And obviously, there's still things that I'm learning, and there's still things that we're all learning together. But still, I mean, oversaturation.
What hooked you into listening to podcasts? Because I know for a while I was just like, man, I don't want to listen to people talk, even though that's what
Um,
like vlogs are. And I think I was definitely, I could say a lot of people probably watch vlogs all the time, especially 2015. That was the hot thing.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of vlogging going on for sure.
So, believe it or not, what hooked me into podcasts is just because I found out there's a platform that you can talk and people will listen. That's it's like I didn't really start listening to podcasts.
You guys don't listen? What?
Yeah, I didn't start listening to podcasts till maybe like 2017, late 2016 is when I really started listening to podcasts. And I don't really listen to a lot. Like I listen to, I mean, I could shout them out. The H3 podcast. I listen to Joe Rogan every once in a while, and that's about it. Like the one consistent one I listen to is, like I said, H3, and I just because I followed them and they were YouTubers that were sort of like they were part of like that whole scene where like they comment on other videos and like make jokes about it and stuff like that. But yeah, like I don't know. What about you? When did you start getting into podcasts, Junior?
Just working. I It takes me a long time to figure out what music I want to listen to. So I was just one day I was just like, yeah, screw it. I'll just put on a podcast. And I was like, yeah, this isn't bad to just listen to while I'm working.
What sort of podcast was it that you listened to?
I want to say it was probably Your Mom's House. That was the first one I listened to, and then I tried to get into. I like Bert Kreischer as a comedic. Man, I can't find the word.
Meanwhile, there's probably a bunch
Comedian.
of
There we go. Comedian.
house. So he listens to his Justin's mom.
What happened?
I said, meanwhile, there's probably a lot of people that don't know who Your Mom's House is, and they're just like, wait, your mom has a podcast?
Yeah, so Bert Kreischer, he's a pretty funny comedian, and I was trying to listen to his solo one, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. And then at that time, that I was just starting to get into podcasts. Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer teamed up to do Two Bears One Cave, and that's probably like my favorite. Just because Your Mom's House podcast is pretty good, but they just show some like, no, it's good, it's good. Never mind, I enjoy it. It's just the live shows that get a little crazy. That I'm like, I'm gonna pass on that.
You get a bit raunchy.
real raunchy.
Oh
Because
god.
it's just based on the clips they show. So if when they're doing the live show, they could get a little more X-rated.
Oh goodness.
And then so Tom's doing that with his wife for the Your Mom's House one, and then the Two Bears One Cave is him and Bert, and they did a live show for that, and that one was really funny. I enjoyed it. It got a little X-rated, but it wasn't like overdone and like tasteless after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not really into like sort of like crazy X-rated, right? Like just because it's like, yeah, like especially if it's horribly done, like it's too much, like right? It's just jokes don't land, certain things are just
Well, it's more they're trying to get
cringy.
the shock factor, and after a while, it's just like, I like when you guys joke around though.
Yeah, a little bit more lighthearted, right? I mean, I don't know. Tyler? Do you listen to any podcasts?
I I don't. um, I have a few YouTubers that do blogging, which that's probably the closest thing to a podcast that I listen to. Um, but other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, podcasts definitely are. You gotta have a taste for it, which is why I'm so grateful for all of our listeners out there. You mean we've been having consistent listeners, and I think in these times of oversaturation of podcasts, for you guys to choose and listen to our podcast, thank you very much, each and every one of you. And that's why we push subscribing so much, and we push follows because I think we want to start building a community of our own, and we're exactly what we say we are, right? We're amateurs, like we're getting started, we're getting in this, and I'm hoping that we can grow ever so slowly, but just continue to grow as a community and start to uh, have open dialogue with one another when it comes to the comment section and stuff like that. I'd really like to see your guys' take on things. Do you guys believe there's an oversaturation of podcasts? What was your first podcast that you listened to? Comment in the freaking comment section below if you're on YouTube.
Does Justin need to go easy on the porn related names? Just let us know.
And with that said, I mean, like, I want to keep with this pessimistic sort of viewpoint, right? I just feel like being a little bit negative, right? I feel streamers have ruined like multiplayer video gaming. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. I am, right now, I'm fed up with streamers. When it comes to multiplayer video games. And the reason I say this, okay, there's a very reason, because we talked about the oversaturation of podcasts. Let's talk about the oversaturation of streamers, right? Every kid thinks that they can become a streamer, so now they get all sweaty and they try super hard at every video game, and it's ridiculous. Like, I miss the days where I would hop on MW2, say, hey, Junior, let's play some multiplayer live. And we're like, yes. We all hop in, we get ready, strapped in. We ain't the 100% best, but we ain't the worst neither. We got that average KD. And then we destroy or get destroyed, but it was fair either way. Now you have these wannabe streamers, right? Where they're like, oh, TTTV, which is Twitch TV, and they're hopping in, getting ready to slay out, and they're just trying super hard to get their followers and their viewership up super hard, so they're using the OP weapons, and it's just ridiculous. It makes me sick.
Sounds like a stutter. TV.
Yes, ta-da! It's ridiculous. Like seriously, I was playing last night and some more Warzone, right? I had some time to myself and I'm trying to relax. I'm having a very stressful time at freaking life, right? So
Hey, well, hold up. That's your fault. You're trying to relax and you're playing Warzone?
hey, that's how I find relaxation. I have 60. I
No
got a win
way,
last
man.
night. Okay, I'm at 69 wins.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. When you're at work and you're stressed out, from like a customer service job, and you come home and you play a game like GTA and you just murder everyone, it's a little bit relaxing. And you're
Yeah.
murdering virtual fake people that don't matter, not real people. So
Listen, yeah, when you're slaying out with 150 people and you're getting,
it,
decent amount of
it lets you
kills.
press because you can be like, oh, all my anger is focused on all these bullets going into you, but it's all fake, so it's fine.
Yeah, but then when you're getting in and you're playing people that are trying to be MLG gamers, and I think esports too has kind of ruined freaking gaming as well. They have a part of ruining multiplayer gaming as well. Just because, like I said, everyone wants to be the best. They want to get in all these sort of, how would you say, competitions and make all this money. And it's just, it's annoying. It's annoying. I miss the times where people would play multiplayer to have genuine fun, not to be the best, right? Just to have fun. And not to say, like, it's not one of those things where I'm complaining because, oh man, I'm so bad. No, it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm okay. I'm a decent gamer. I'm not like 100%, but I don't want to feel like I have to try and I have to be this 100% all the time that I play. Like,
Well, yeah, because it's a video game. You're enjoying it. You're not competing.
yeah, it's supposed to take you to a place, right, where that's non-existent, that you're supposed to have fun and that you've never seen, and I don't know. It's ridiculous the way things are have become, unfortunately, with multiplayer in video games. Just way too try hard. Not happy about it. I'll say that much. And, keeping with the not happy and pessimistic, I have this weird hatred too towards karaoke. I think karaoke's so stupid. All right, I seen the other day. It was like on Facebook something. Just these people on karaoke, and I was cringing so hard. I was trying not to puke in my mouth. Right. I'm not a kid. I might be stepping on some toes here, and I do apologize if you like karaoke, but I hate it. I'm sorry. It's embarrassing to me. It's cringe. It's a cringe fest. No, thank you. I don't want to stand here, sing a bunch of words in front of everyone, and just or watch people do it. No, no. Like, dang, I sing in the car. That's it. That's for me and whoever's in the car.
We're gonna put a hidden mic in Justin's car.
Go ahead. But know that I'm not singing it to karaoke, dude. Like, I hate it. What are you guys' take on karaoke? You like it? Because I hate it.
Yeah, I'm not for it.
Okay, yeah, it's a party game kind of thing, and like, yeah, you can have some fun with it, but nah, it's not my thing. I'm not gonna get up there in front of everyone and sing this song.
Honestly, since we hate it so much, we need to have like a karaoke video or something like that. Like, us.
Here's the thing, I can never remember song lyrics anyway, so I won't be on stage very
Neither
long.
can I. Strangely enough, I can't memorize like song lyrics. Like I
Well,
could remember like the beats, right? Like when there's gonna be a riff or something like that, but I can't remember the actual lyrics to the song.
well, if you're doing it legit, they usually give you the lyrics either by like a projector or maybe a songbook.
You're usually singing along with like a caption on the screen or something.
See, and even hearing singing along, it just sounds cringy to me. Like a sing along, like here we go, folks.
Sort of like sort of like musicals, like movies that just have musical numbers in them or
Yeah.
shows. It's just like, come on, man.
And then you're like, why is everyone singing? You're like, how is everyone on the same note right now? No, karaoke doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry for those of you again who are streamers, are getting into the podcast realm. By the way, again, that is just for people who are freaking these actors or actresses that decide, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for a trend. Um, and I mean, there's also them regular folk that like, yeah, you know what, this seems interesting. I could talk. Like, let me just get into this. And like, I don't know, they don't have no love for the craft. But anyway, and for those of you who love karaoke, I'm not trying to attack you, okay? It's just my personal opinion, right? I hate karaoke. I can't get into it. It
I'm not
makes me
trying
want
to
to
attack.
vomit.
I don't give a shit about you.
Kinda, right? I'm not running for president here. I just don't like karaoke. It's just it's a whole thing, right? Whole ordeal.
Meanwhile, every night Justin gets on his wasn't there an Xbox game that you sing the songs?
Oh, there's
maybe
a
like Rock
bunch.
Band and stuff like that.
Well,
Rock Band,
what's the
SingStar.
main game where like they gave you the mic and you're supposed to sing the song, like you're in the band?
Probably Rock Band.
Whatever it is. Meanwhile, Justin's saying all this crap. He smashes it every night.
No, unfortunately not. It's man, karaoke. No, thank you. That's just
You're wrong.
yeah. I just cringe with it, man. I don't know what else to say. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Anything else? Like, what's something else you guys just dislike? Come on, I can't be the only one here.
I just like your negativity right now. Jeez.
Wow, dude. Listen.
Is it mean to say I dislike people that can't use simple technology?
Define simple technology like a calculator.
Your basic phone, the basic functions of your phone. Or if I'm installing an alarm system, our new system has the buttons labeled on a touchscreen. It's the easiest thing to use. Yet I have to go back to customer's house and teach them how to use it again.
I could see how that gets annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse than having to be like the techie of the family or something like that, right? When you're just like, and they just don't know, right? You feel bad, but it's just like at the same token, yeah, I get you, I get you.
Like my grandma. I mean, I built her a computer. She uses it for her sewing, and she actually has a machine that can print designs as it's sewing. And I give her credit because she downloads all this stuff, she moves it over, she starts the software, she gets it all going. But all the time, Granny, stop asking me, is it right click or left click to copy and paste? Like, you do everything else on this computer. Like, and she does it well. But she can't remember, do I right click to copy and paste?
And then you're like, get with the times. Hit Control C.
I showed her that too. I was thinking I'm gonna buy you a white keyboard and I'm gonna Sharpie all the shortcuts on it.
I think don't they sell like keyboards with the shortcuts on it?
Yeah, they do.
Get one of those, man.
My MacBook Pro, which I still have it, it's just on the shelf up there collecting dust. I have a silicone keyboard cover that has all the Mac shortcuts on it because I'm used to using Windows. So when I go to Mac, I'm like, what are the keyboard shortcuts?
Yeah,
So I
like
bought a keyboard cover that had them all.
see, that's a smart way of going about it, right? I remember like there's some old ladies though that are like pretty dang tech savvy. It's like crazy. I remember seeing them like when I used to work at Kohl's or something, like this old lady, like she maybe like
Well, hold
80.
on. Here. Sorry, Justin. I just remembered. Here's a basic technology thing. I've been to this lady's house like 3 times to fix her system. She brought me down to a 70% on my quality rating over the 30 days. Meanwhile, it's only the beginning of the month. But we sent her batteries, and I showed her how to install them. And it's been the 3rd time I've been back to this lady's house. I go back to the lady's house. The battery is either in backward or the wrapper is still on the battery.
That's pretty funny. I mean, like, it's the little
Frustrating.
things, right? The
Like,
little things here.
are you telling me you've never changed the batteries on your TV remote? You pop the cover off, right? Okay. It says plus and minus. You flip the battery to the correct area, you snap it in. Boom. It's the exact same way on the alarm sensors. You pop the cover off, you look for the positive and negative, you pop the battery in. When you buy a brand new TV, the batteries are shrink wrapped. You pop the shrink wrap off, you put the battery in. You don't put it in there with the shrink wrap on, like, duh. But it's an alarm system, and it's like all of a sudden way more complicating.
Junior, do you have any pet peeves?
Well, I was saying like the musicals and like the musical numbers that you don't expect, and it's just like, come on. It actually happened on SNL recently. They're doing like a musical number on like souvenirs in New York City or something. I quit paying attention.
You're like, yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm out.
Well, you know what? With that said, do you guys have any nuisances? Anything that annoys you? Does karaoke annoy you too? I generally want to know if I'm the only one. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're on SoundCloud, there's a comment section as well. If you're on Spotify, well, you know what? Go over to YouTube. Go over to our Instagram. Go over to our Twitter. Please follow us there. Give us comments there. We make posts every week to, let you guys know we got new episodes coming out too. So make sure you follow us on there. Again, we're up every weekend. Go in the description right now. Follow all the individuals also that are helping us on this podcast. I mean, we got BMB Animations. Like, we have Adam Stone. We have, I think that's about it. But, and EBXYA, of course, our lovely sponsor. All those descriptions are going to be below. All those links, are going to be in the description below. But as usual, we love you. Bye.